Okay, here's my thing with Indiana Jones. All of the movies. I guess we can get into a larger conversation about them all.
Okay.
I adored them as a child. I loved them.
Okay.
In the way, I'm sure you did too.
I still love them, man.
Yeah. Well, point being, the peak of my Indiana Jones fandom was when I was 13.
Yeah.
And I think at that age, I loved all of the movies, Temple of Doom included. Crystal Skull I didn't, but Temple of Doom I loved as well. Last Crusade I acknowledge is I think the second best. But Spielberg has a way of capturing the imagination of a boy more than that of an adult. Mm-hmm. And I think I look at this material now with modern eyes, and I recognize that it's campy and schlocky and pulpy and playing on a lot of the sort of Saturday morning serial stuff of the time.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And specifically is that way in its portrayal of the Nazi characters.
Yes.
There is not a lot of ambiguity in this movie. It is black and white morally, and it is made by a Jewish guy that wanted to take revenge on the Nazis.
Okay.
Right? And that's what this movie is. I think if you look at it thematically, it's about Nazism and about like just the action hero with a whip who kicks ass and gets revenge. And it's not so far away from Inglourious Bastards in that way.
I think Last Crusade is more specifically that than this.
Yeah.
This is a little more concerned with the I think the Saturday morning serials is more deeply than something like Last Crusade even is.
Yeah.
So,
but I look at that now and I acknowledge that, look, this is subject matter that is it's fair game to be explored, and that's one of the reasons why I love Tarantino so much. Tarantino often pays homage to a lot of that pulpy stuff of the era. But I see that it's directed by Spielberg, and I see a lot of the Spielberg's isms, and I just yearn for a movie that's a little more edgy and a little more gritty.
Because I think, really.
And I acknowledge that it's one of his edgier PG movies.
I was going to say, no, I find one of the things I love about these movies is how edgy they are for what they are.
Yeah.
I mean, for being like a Saturday morning serial. I mean, I just rewatched Raiders of the Lost Ark last week.
Yeah.
And I was like, a lot of the choices with the cinematography and the lighting and some of the sets to the music in certain scenes, it's surprisingly dark, actually.
Okay.
And that's one of the things I appreciate about it so much is that it could have been sillier and it could have felt more like Back to the Future.
Right.
But I remember rewatching and thinking like, this is actually fairly mature helming, I will say, which is what I love so much about it. And it really sells itself in that way. I mean, I felt it and I'm like, yeah, this is like kind of dark. And a lot of the scenes where people get shot or killed are actually pretty impactful. It's not exactly light in the traditional sense.
Well, especially when you put it in the pantheon of Spielberg movies.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure. I still think, though, there's a Spielberg-ness to it.
Dude, it's like the Spielberg film.
Yes. Well,
that's okay.
No, certainly. And I'm not going to disparage Spielberg or this movie or the combination of the two. Like, of course it works and it changed cinema and it's one of the great American films. I just find myself wanting something a little dirtier. And I want to even go far beyond a guy getting his face melted off in the last scene.
Yeah.
I want to go even beyond that. There's still like a campiness and a charm and a childlike sensibility that doesn't really work with this story entirely for me. Not to say that the movie doesn't work. I've seen it a million times and I love it. I'm just playing devil's advocate and I'm trying to explain to you why I look at it and I think it hasn't as aged well as some of the other movies of the era.
Weird, because I think I don't know, it gets better.
Okay.
I don't see anything about this that it still like can't be absolutely beloved, because in a lot of ways it feels like every movie now that's trying to be a summer blockbuster is just ripping off of this one.
Certainly,
in terms of like tone, especially.
Certainly the case,
and style.
The MCU owes its entire existence to Indiana Jones. Yes,
Indiana Jones and Star Wars. Good for you, George Lucas.
Yes.
I don't know. I just disagree.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I just can't help but flipping this on every once in a while and thinking, it hasn't aged perfectly.
Wow.
Some of this feels a little dated, and I don't feel that way about E.T., and I don't feel that way about Jaws, and I don't feel that way about countless Spielberg movies.